talking about retirement planning in the context of a lot that's been going on in Jamaica's economy. We've had this discussion here on this show about the country's declining birth rate and the economic development. How do these things relate? What does that have to do with retirement planning?
All right, so off the bat, one of the things that we would have seen as it relates to retirement planning and within the context of Latin America and the Caribbean is that we have, and the data would show coming out of the United Nations, OECD, that we have an aging population. And the data in 2020 would have indicated that 1 in every 10 persons would be at age 60 or over, and that is expected to double by 2050. So when you're looking in terms of sustainability of pension systems, adequacy of pension systems, you recognize that there is a challenge that we're going to have and a challenge that we're currently having. So how is it that we can look on our pension systems, ensure that one, the adequacy of it, the sustainability of it, and how it is that we can strengthen the current framework so that persons are not going to experience old age poverty? And I always say that pensions is not one of those sexy things, meaning that persons will say, yes, they're going to go and invest, they're going to go and invest, buy stocks, or they're going to go and buy a car or a house. But retirement planning is usually far away in terms of them saying, let me see what I can do and prepare for as it relates to when I hit age 60 or I stop actively working. So it is a critical area for the economy in and of itself. And it is not just unique to Jamaica, but it is across the Caribbean and indeed Latin America.
So a lot is going on in this industry. We've been hearing about pension funds as well. What has the Pension Industry Association proposed re-coverage?
All right, so the Pension Industry Association of Jamaica, led by our president, Sanya Goff, would have been advocating aggressively as it relates to auto-enrollment. And that is a policy now set up to further strengthen the capacity, the resilience of the pension system. We have 3 pillars in Jamaica. One, the first pillar is your national insurance scheme, and the auto-enrollment now seeks to strengthen the second pillar, which is private pension plans and persons participating in the private pension plans. So you want to increase the pension coverage rate. Why? The question would be. Now, over a decade, probably 16, 17 years ago, you would have had pension reforms put in place, and those pension reforms, again, an element of the policy now to strengthen the system. But even with that and reforms, what would have happened and where we are today is that we have a coverage of approximately 12%. That means that a lot of persons have not focused on retirement planning, are not a part of an approved pension arrangement. And it means that there's going to be a dependency on other elements, whether it is the government or other social safety nets that we have in place. And that is going to not only weaken our economy, but it can also create a space where persons are burdened, whether it is the children, they're burdened by the fact that they have to take care of their parents who may not have effectively planned for retirement. So it is a pension ecosystem. It has multifacets. And what we want to do at the end of the day, whether it is in the private sector or public sector, is have a multi-pronged approach in terms of how it is that we can create resilience, how is it that we can educate, and how it is that we can expand pension coverage.
Well, I feel like most companies don't offer pensions anymore. Pension used to be a standard. Now, probably only government workers still earn pension now.
And one of the things it would be in terms of even possibly the costs to the employer in terms of setting up a pension arrangement. And when you have whether it is like the auto enrollment, that burden is not so much on the employer, but it is more so encouraging, motivating persons to enroll in a pension arrangement. And when a cost is prohibitive to an employer, you will see that they're not motivated to say, okay, let me go and set up something for my employees. So again, while you have one element, which is the auto enrollment, which seeks to strengthen that particular framework, which is the second pillar, you still have to, and it is important, and I need to pause here, that you can have different policies put in place, but if you're not educating, and financial literacy is very important. If you're not educating persons about the importance of retirement planning, what is going to obtain is that you're going to have the dependency on your family members will have to chip in, whether it is nursing home costs, medical costs, health costs. So it is important, not just when you're in the working stages of your life, you say, yes, let me think about retirement planning, but it needs to be from your hit primary, high school, that persons are learning about the importance of financial planning, the implications of it, what it is that they can do, because that is how you establish healthy financial habits. So it's not just when you enter the work world that you're establishing the healthy financial habits, but from onset, when you're in school, you're learning about the importance of these things, because what we need in Jamaica, and indeed across the wider Caribbean, is a shift in terms of how persons think about retirement planning and the importance of it.
It's a tricky one, because on the one hand, yes, it's important. I think most people acknowledge that it is important. You aspire to have something put away for retirement, but the majority of Jamaicans living hand to mouth can barely cover today's expenses, much less find extra to put away for 20, 30, 40 years from now.
And that is the reality. It is the reality. And one of the things that I say, that if you are struggling hand to mouth now, can you imagine then? And when you think about that reality, you know that you are going to be in a space where you're not going to be adequately able to provide, whether it is for medication, paying your basic bills, your healthcare costs. So yes, you're living hand to mouth, but if you're struggling now, can you imagine then? The first rule of retirement planning is to never run out of money. And the second rule is that you must not forget the first rule. And yes, it's hand to mouth now, but it's better you have something more than nothing at all.
How easy is it to set up a pension plan on your own for yourself? Since you did mention, I think you said only 14% of Jamaicans have a retirement plan
on
or
a
a
private
pension
pension
fund.
arrangement system, approximately 12% in terms of pension coverage.
12%.
Yes.
12%.
Roughly,
So the
yes.
vast majority are uncovered. How easy is it for those people to set it up for themselves?
It's very easy. It is just walking through through the doors of a financial institution. You'd have whether it is the attendant document, to know your customer documentation, and you would establish whether or not you are eligible in terms of being able to join an approved retirement scheme. And outside of that, you'd also have, and when you're talking about building a retirement portfolio, you would want to also look on the numbers. What are you working towards as it relates to your goals? But it is very easy. And the thing about it, as I would have said, persons are not excited about retirement planning. But the reality of it is that we are heading to a crisis as it relates to persons not being covered, not being able to adequately provide for themselves when they stop actively working. And that is in and of itself a crisis.
A lot of people just say retirement. What's that? I just work till I dead.
It's not one of those things that you get excited about and say, yes, no, it isn't. And that is a stark reality. And I would have had personal experiences with relatives who would not have actively planned for retirement. And it is dependent on the family members now to kind of put together, whether it is to put that individual in a nursing home, whether it is to cover their medical expenses. And you don't want to be in that position. So how is it that we can, whether it is from a policy framework, you have things like the auto enrollment, or from a financial literacy space, how is it that we are refining, distilling the information so persons understand the importance. And one of the things that we have in terms of understanding or better understanding the numbers would have been even JMMB building out our Hello Future website. And it is catering again to the different modalities of learning. Individuals, whether it is they want to look on a video, or whether it is they want to manipulate the calculator that is on that particular website, they're able to see, based on how much it is that I have, my salary, manipulate the numbers, what is the call to action, what is that gap. So it gives you more value-added information that is important in terms of, one, establishing your retirement goal and working towards achieving that.
I have some questions from the audience. Sean wants to know, Sean, she got jokes. Why is NIS not adequate enough? Why do I need another pension plan?
So NIS is the first pillar, and it would not be adequate enough because it would not reach one of the benchmarks that we have, is that you want to replace at least 75 to 80% of your final salary. And the NIS would not be sufficient in terms of achieving that particular number.
Yeah, Sean, do you see how much they pay out in NIS? That can't mind nobody. Have you seen those numbers?
And the NIS is very important, so outside of providing a pension, there are other benefits that it provides. And in your retirement portfolio, you have that as a first element, but you need to also think about the second and the third element of the pillars.
What are the other pillars, second and third?
So the second one is the private pension arrangements, whether or not you are part of an approved superannuation fund that your employer would have established, or an approved retirement scheme. Most financial institutions, they have an approved retirement scheme. And the third now is your voluntary savings and investments.
Roswell says, Roswell has a concern. Roswell says, I don't like pension plans. Many reps just sell this product, and most of those who buy into pension not knowing how pension plan works, only the fund manager.
So, understood, but it is not selling a product. It is not selling a product, and it should not be selling a product.
What pension fund is not a product?
No, what should be present is not just a product. What should be present is in terms of a retirement portfolio and how that works. Meaning that you have your retirement portfolio will have many different elements, as stated before. One, you have your NIS. Two, you're a part of an approved pension arrangement. But it is, when you just say it is a product, you are losing the essence in terms of the importance of it. Because the questions that you should be asking your financial advisor, one, based on my current rate of contribution, what is my replacement rate going to look like? And that should motivate you to say, based on the current rate that I'm contributing, based on the information provided by my financial advisor, I am at 30 or 40%. Have I maxed out? The next question now is, have I maxed out in terms of the rate of contribution? When I max out that rate of contribution, which is 20%, where's that number carrying me to as it relates to my replacement rate? Because what your goal, is that, and you have to always have in front of you, what is your goal? That goal is the replacement rate. So it is not just here, this is the product. What is a fundamental thing that you're working towards for yourself as it relates to a replacement rate? And when you ask your financial advisor those questions, those pointed questions, then you will be able to motivate yourself to not just say, this is not only a product, but this is me securing my financial future by virtue of what it is that I have saved and invested in, and how is it I may be able to potentially close the gap by possibly other investments that may be out there.
Captain Parky says, one of my coworkers say, God soon comes, so no need for a pension. And then Shell says,
so until
next
then,
part of that, Jamaican's mentality, the Lord will provide. I have another question though. Let me find back the question. Hold on. Lanestra wants to know, what do you think about investing in stocks instead of a pension fund for retirement?
So stocks is one element of it, and it can be a part of your portfolio, but then again, that is maximizing now the third pillar, and it is based on your risk appetite, and what it is that you want as it relates to possible dividend income from the particular stocks that you have in your portfolio. Again, it is always guided by the conversations that you're having with your financial advisor, and what it is that you need in terms of building out your portfolio.
Next question. Boy, it's a hot topic tonight. Everybody interested in the pensions. Kemoy wants to know, can the diaspora with a JMD account invest in a retirement scheme in Jamaica?
No, you have to be ordinarily resident to invest in our approved retirement scheme. However, there are other solutions that JMB would have as it relates to our portfolio solution, which is JMB Retirement Supplement, and again, other investments that you can use to build out your retirement portfolio.
So you can't have your pension in the US and then try put some money in Jamaica for pension as well, double dip.
No.
Question from Instagram. Can your pension be moved from one entity to the next? And is that only in Jamaica?
Yes, it can be moved from one entity to the next as it relates to portability. If you are a part of an approved retirement scheme, there is some institutions will possibly have a fee, but there is a portability where persons can transfer from one entity to the next if you're a part of an approved retirement scheme. And also, if you are a part of an approved superannuation fund, there is usually the clause in your trust document that allows for you to transfer to another pension arrangement if you have terminated employment from a particular company.
And let me add as well, when we were asking about the benefit of investing in your pension plan as opposed to investing in stocks for pension, don't forget, guys, you get a tax benefit when you invest in a pension plan. Tell them about the tax benefit, Camille.
So with other investments, what you're doing, you're investing it with after-tax dollars for somebody who has a pay slip. So you're carrying the monies whether to any financial institution after-tax dollars. However, when you are a part of an approved pension arrangement, the contributions are taken out before taxes applied. So you get that tax savings. In addition, also, your monies, you're able to grow faster. Why? The monies or any investments held by an approved pension arrangement would not be taxed. So your monies is able to grow faster, and that is what you want. You want your money to be working for you, outpacing inflation, so that the pot of funds, when you stop actively working, is adequate.
It's not taxed now, but it is taxed later on when you...
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes. So you get 25% tax-free lump sum, and then yes, the income would be taxed, but you can apply for varied exemptions, which will give you some latitude as it relates to your income.
I'll take this final question before we bring in David. This one is also from Instagram. Momo wants to know, does the pension have to be deducted from your salary, like from your workplace on a standing order, or can the individual send the money over to the pension account when they can?
So we recommend that usually it's deducted from your salary. However, you can also send it over, but we recommend that it's deducted from your salary. But yes, you have the flexibility in terms of just sending over monies to your pension, your retirement account.
I know I said last one, but last one now from Shells. What happens to your pension contributions when you leave a company?
All right, so there are two things that can happen. So if you're a part of an approved superannuation fund, what may happen is that when you are terminated, the rules may state that you can get a refund of your pension contributions, whether it is your basic or your voluntary contributions. You may have conditional vesting, whereby that conditional vesting, if you take a portion of it, you forfeit some element of the benefit. But again, that is always dependent on the structure. So the question is broad. However, I always recommend that person speak with their human resource personnel about, and you're supposed to also have a members booklet. You can also request the trust deed and rules for any pension arrangement that you're a part of, so you can understand the intricacies of how it operates and what are the attendant benefits. If you're a part of an approved retirement scheme, you're not going to get a refund of your contributions. What would obtain is that usually, and different institutions have different retirement, early retirement age and normal retirement age. And when that is triggered, you will get a benefit at that point in time. But for an approved retirement scheme, you're not going to get the contribution refund in your hand.